The structure started to collapse. 6 months later, the city authorities have not finished demolition, and the families still live in a makeshift camp on the sidewalk.
Si no nos ayudan, pues ya nosotros nos haremos, aunque sea cómo poder hacerlo para tirarlo, porque pues si el departamento y la delegación nomás viene y tiran unos 2, 3 tabiques y ahí nos dejan. Ahorita no han venido ni por ese escombro ni por el de afuera.
¿Y ya no podemos avanzar?
Porque pues no podemos movernos por las paredes de que...
¿Qué hacemos? ¿A quién le pedimos la otra ayuda?
Ahorita hay varias familias que nos estamos quedando en el módulo, bueno, aquí en el campamento, porque las rentas, pues sí, tenemos la ayuda del departamento, pero es insuficiente porque las rentas están más elevadas de lo que
el presupuesto que nos dieron.
La ayuda. Entonces, sabemos varias familias que no podemos pagar las rentas que se están pidiendo.
Independiente del plantón que se hizo el martes allá, ya nadie me...
Las autoridades de la ciudad tienen una obligación.
Government and city authorities have a constitutional obligation to listen and respond to the problems of the society. We have a problem because they're not doing so. They only offer false solutions that don't help the city or its people.
The hard times have also seen a large increase in urban violence. For the Aguayo family, this has meant tragedy. In 1988, Atanasio bought a van to work as a taxi driver and supplement the family income. Today, it is Marcela's eldest son, Martin, who drives the van.
Se querían adueñar del terreno, estas personas de aquí.
Our neighbors were trying to take over our land. They claimed that they had proof that this land was theirs, but my father had the title deeds.
Entonces, el pleito duró un año, o sea, en el juzgado. Entonces, como ellos perdieron porque
the dispute lasted a year in court. My father won because he had the papers. Our neighbors had even beaten him up, and he had the scars to prove it. Now the neighbors were even more angry. When my father bought the van, exactly a year and 1 month after the trial, they murdered him.
Ever since he died, everything has been a problem. We now have financial problems. He used to work all the time and always made enough to provide for us. Now, things seem to be going downhill.
Now that he is not here, it's just not the same. My dad used to tell me what to do. He lent me things that I needed. Now that he is not here, I feel that I don't have that support. The only support I had before was my mother's and his, and now my mother is alone. I just don't feel very good. I miss my daddy very much.
Martin is now the family breadwinner. Despite the opportunities that Mexico City presented to his father, he feels that the family's future may be back in Zacatecas.
tenemos planeado es regresar hasta...
We are planning to go back to Zacatecas. I think we would be happier living there. Ever since my father died, we have not been happy in Mexico City. My mother is worried because I work driving the van. I might be robbed. I could have an accident. Or there might even be a revenge attack against the family. That is why we want to leave.
Now that he's dead, there's no one to help us. His brothers all live far away. We had to sort things out on our own, and I'm tired. I don't want to stay here anymore. We all want to go.
For decades, migrants saw in Mexico City a promise of a decent salary and a better way of life, but the city can no longer fulfill that promise. Thousands of prospective migrants have to look elsewhere. Tijuana and the other Mexican border cities are the fastest growing cities in Mexico. Every day, Tijuana's bus station receives hundreds of migrants.
When you look at the recent economic history in Mexico and you compare with other countries, the countries in the Asian Pacific, for instance, they ended up opening up their economies in the early 70s. We did not. And the inefficiencies that come naturally along with protectionism went on in Mexico. So it was by the early 80s when we realized that that model, that way of approaching things was over. And then we decided to start opening up.
This is why so many migrants come, the maquiladora industry. Maquilas are assembly plants that take advantage of specially created free trade zones on the Mexican side of the border. Foreign companies set up plants that rely on Mexico's huge supply of cheap labor. Once the parts are assembled, the product is returned to the country of origin and is taxed only on the value added by labor. The first plants appeared in the early 70s, but the industry took off in the early 80s in response to the country's crisis. For people like Doris Amparo, the boom in the maquiladora industry represents a new world of opportunity.
Doris, ¿por qué quieres trabajar en maquiladora?
Porque allá donde vengo de Sinaloa no hay trabajo, muy poco sueldo. Y pues me vine aquí a Tijuana a ver si encontraba trabajo.
¿Hace cuánto que llegaste de Sinaloa?
Tengo pocos días.
¿Es la primera vez que vienes a Tijuana?
Sí. La primera vez.
¿Piensas irte a vivir a Estados Unidos?
No. No. Aquí quiero trabajar, encontrar trabajo aquí. Como allá en Sinaloa pagan muy poco y no hay posibilidades de superarse. Y pues aquí sí hay mucha maquiladora. Me gustaría trabajar aquí.
Doris got the job. She'd arrived in Tijuana only 2 days before.
Yo pienso que aquí está mi futuro.
I think my future is here. They gave me an opportunity as soon as I arrived. And I can see that here you can go a long way. You start low down the ladder, and later you can become a technician. I can make more of myself here. I wouldn't return to Sinaloa.
As many as 70% of maquila workers are single young women like Doris Amparo. Maquila managers believe that women are better able to cope with the tedious work. Women are also paid lower wages than men.